I would like to welcome you especially to the big brainstorm we will have today. It's very exciting to us all because we really want to know something you are going to tell us about your well-being in the Netherlands.
And then you decide to go to this very small part of the world, it's called the Netherlands. Actually difficult to find because the world is so big and it's just a small country. And then I wonder, why do you come to the Netherlands?
For me, I've traveled here before I decided to technically move here. And I find it, as small a country as it is, I think it has space for everyone. That's the perception that I had about it. I still do. That you can really be who you want to be here. And that made it really attractive for me.
At the end of every lecture at my university, the professors who are experts in the field, they've done years of research in whatever they're talking about. So they say 2 hours, at the end of 2 hours, they're like, this is what we did, this is how things are, but tell me, do you agree with it or not? So the professor is modest enough to agree that maybe he's not right, maybe he or she's not right, and there's always room for improvement. And that very mindset is what I think has been the biggest point of attraction for me.
I didn't want to study in France because this educational system there is very rigid, it's from the 19th century basically, almost. And I was brought up in the German education system because I went to a Franco-German school. So I wanted to go for a educational system that was kind of similar. So I thought the Netherlands would be a good match.
This is quite a great country to go, and either in terms of its multicultural international environment or its tolerance of all this diversity. And I want to live in a completely different culture and to experience something that I've never experienced before.
Also, one of the factors is the level of English proficiency in the population, which I'm really interested because if I was to study in Germany or France, it would be really hard to live just knowing English without knowing the French or German. But in Netherlands, it is possible.
So my general perception about how things should look is I see a lot of people in India because you have so many people, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of sights to see. So I come to this place and I'm like, where are all the people? What happened? It was like this post-apocalypse moment where there's this cars on the road and I'm thinking, where are all the people? And I was so new to this whole system that I went into my apartment and the ground floor, I didn't realize you have to press a bell to just, let the person know that I'm here and, please open the door and all, because it's at the ground floor, it's pretty centralized. Mm-hmm. And I spent half an hour, I was jet lagged, I spent half an hour just trying to figure out how do I get in. So.
It's a strange feeling because you go to the house and then you're like, oh, this is my home now. And it's a weird feeling of leaving your parents' house because traditionally we live with our parents until you get your own home. So I was living with my parents until I was 25 and then I moved here. That was very weird.
I think the first thing I did that made me feel at home was my mum was still with me and we bought a teapot and a ton of tea. That's always home.
The key to feeling home is buying a teapot.
Well, just having tea.
Just having tea. Okay.
Our building where we live is kind of like, it was built in the last 4 years or something. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing but white walls and white stairs and white floors even. White floors? I don't know. Everything's white. Yeah.
Sounds like a brave new world, like a sterile environment.
No, actually, it's sterile. and yeah.
They built it for the purpose of like student housing, right?
Yeah, but
So there's not much.
there's wood, there's bamboo wood.
Yeah, but there's not much design happening there. Like,
No.
it's not. It's so temporary, right?
Yeah.
Almost. It's like, oh, you're not supposed to stay here, therefore
And it,
we don't care.
yeah, and it seems like it can be, like it will be the same in like 100 years, and I don't know, could be used in 100 years or whatever.
For me, I didn't feel much homesickness or anything different. For me, it's just a different place to live because I used to live myself also, so I didn't feel any difference. And also, what I was happy about is that at least it's a single room that I can have my own space, my privacy here, and that's enough for me.
No, I firstly, of course, unpacked my luggage and also cleaned the whole house. And so the thing I make it more like home is I put some photos of my family. Yeah, so that makes me more cozy and more welcome.
We have a shared kitchen, and that's also one of the most enjoyable parts about our accommodation. We talk with people from different continents, and we share food sometimes. Actually, we didn't see many so-called conflicts in our accommodation because if there are some problems popping up, and we have a Facebook group, and some people will just post it, like wash the dishes, and they will take picture and post it on our Facebook.
To me, it makes a difference if I have a choice. Like if I have, for example, my own, doesn't matter, like the tiniest kitchen or my own tiny bathroom, and then there's also like a communal place that I can go to when I want to. Not that I have to necessarily get out of my own space to go and cook. When there's an option, I like that better.
Sometimes I, for example, avoid taking the elevator to like avoid people actively.
Which one?
Because in the elevator you're like kind of forced to make small talk, or it gets kind of awkward. So I take the stairs then that go into the like trash room kind of, and then I just take the side door basically.
Yeah.
I go out.
Okay, so this avoidance is actually well known.
In my elevators, just like we have like a vow of silence. Just like like we would just like walk in, just like stare at different corners of the elevator.
But where do you look? This is also a difference that I saw here.
No,
That
up, down, left, right.
Oh, really? Because in Iran, at least is my experience, that when we enter the elevator, we face each other. But then here, sometimes I saw that people face the door of the elevator, which is weird because then your back is to someone. Or maybe I'm paranoid. I don't want my back to be to somebody. I don't know.
No, usually people just stand like, well, their backs are always against the wall.
Okay.
Like, okay, so like, but still, like people just like stare somewhere and they stare at their phones. I just put headphones on, just like, don't talk to me.
Don't talk to me. The universal sign of don't talk to me.
I think in China, like dating or something that happened or relationship is more like steps by step. It's very clearly classified in different phases. Like maybe at the first, it's just a meetup. We don't call it dating because, as Michael said, dating is a little bit higher level of intimacy. And yes, and meetup, and if you are still into these people, and you can go for a date. And normally during the phase of dating, it's just some having dinner together, talking and going for a picnic, very normal friend stuff. And after dating, if you are still into this person, and it's another phase which we call relationship. And during this phase, and you can behave basically like a couple. And I think commitment is something really, really exists strongly in this relationship thing.
So normally in these let's say this growing in commitment, where does the kissing start in China?
I think most of the cases it happen in relationship.
Yes.
And I think kissing or sex is more like a bonus of this intimacy. Yes.
So the people here, they start kissing immediately, and then
Maybe on the first date.
and then okay. So if you kiss somebody, then you're actually saying, "I want to have a relationship with you."
In China, yes, but here I don't think so. That's why so many people are so confused.
I also have many complaints about the gay relationship in here. So my Chinese friends, they said there are only two different kinds of people here. One is really into Asian people, and the other really hates Asian. So for those two really into Asian people, I don't think they are really. They just feel Asian people are really mysterious. They're from Oriental, they're mysterious, and they are conservative, they are shy. Those are the characteristics that attract them. But I don't think they really respect Asian. Like, especially when it happens to random sex or dates, you can always feel, how to say, white arrogant. Well, that they you don't feel really they respect you or something, and it makes it worse when you want to start a relationship with them. I don't think I can make it in Netherlands because I just don't know whether we can have real connection between us. We can really respect each other.
It's really funny because I find it that in the dating scene and in like relationship is when like the stereotypes and the deep suppressed sometimes racism comes up. Like one of the things that is like thrown around a lot is the word exotic, which is like used for like South Asians and also like the Asian and Middle Eastern. It's like, oh, you're so exotic. It's like they kind of see you as this mysterious summation of every stereotype they've ever heard about your region. And then when you're not behaving that way, it's like so surprising to them.
True. You left behind all your networks, your whole identity. You've come here and you have to start your identity from scratch. Like you have to go and tell people this is who I am and this is what I do from the very beginning.
I think the couple of first weeks are actually quite hard because actually for me, like I've been with the same friends for 12 years in high school and they're all Franco-German like me. So it's like really a niche stuff thing, you know. And so it was the first time going away from that very specific niche. So it was very hard. Also, like I had to like talk English all the time and like, yeah, people were not Franco-German like me. And it was very hard to leave my parents behind also and etc. And so the couple of first weeks I was like, who am I even more? Like even, like what am I? And yeah, so it was that loneliness in the first couple of weeks actually, I think, part of the process. You just have to go through it.
I have just been here for 2 months. So I think now I start to feel loneliness because you don't really know whether there's someone you can truly trust. And what if I got really ill or I'm going to die? Will there be anyone that can offer me help or they could support me? I don't really know. So that's the moment I feel loneliness.
One thing that struck me was a bunch of us, and I think it was 4 or 5 different nationalities, were watching a YouTube video, and it was, I think it was the one with the Harry Potter video on YouTube, you know?
Which one?
Like the one
Dumbledore.
yeah, Ron,
Snape.
Weasley.
Yeah,
That one.
Snape.
And it was like 5 different nationalities, and everyone was like, oh my god, this is like childhood.
Yeah.
And like, I don't even think it was 4, it might have been like 3 or 4 different continents as well. And the fact that everyone not only knew the video, but like had some really like...
Understand the context that comes with the jokes and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And so you definitely, you get removed from your like, you're not part of like the Dutch experience of growing up, exclusively Dutch.
Yeah.
And I'm not part of the Canadian experience of doing certain things. but there is like this strange middle ground, I guess. And it's just a really odd thing when you realize like everyone can access something.
But that's also something that transcended the borders.
Yeah.
When we talk about like Harry Potter series, it's something that we all read. Basically, our generation is like, okay.
But this sounds like there is a common ground.
There is some common ground.
You can meet
yeah.
each other. It's not in the old stories of your own origin, like the history of China or the history of Kazakhstan or the history of Iran or India, but more like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And everybody recognizes that, and then there's some moment of connection.
I would say that for the international community who is willing to come to the Netherlands to be open and be bold, and it's not as scary as it looks, and the whole environment of the Netherlands is welcoming, even though it seems like really uptight. And it's, if you let the other people help you, whether it be international or Dutch, you will find your place in the community and you have a great time.
It would be better if you can get more know about me or our culture. It doesn't necessarily to be like you have to do some research or something. Just start from the conversation. We can have a really nice conversation if we try to listen to the others.
I think it's the best country for actually going abroad, to be fair, like in Europe.
But am I right if I am hearing in your words that you are still actually appreciating a little bit of chaos?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like in France, I was actually I went back during the break to France, and I was so happy to see two people like yelling at each other and being mean to each other and like actively disagreeing, because here everything flows so smoothly and it kind of gets a bit creepy.
If there's any suggestion for people who want to come here, it would be that people will stereotype you. You might find it weird initially. There will always be this barrier, but it's important to just go out there and talk, and it gets better. It always gets better. Like, I get to live in this apartment where Dutch families. I think that really helps me talk to a lot of Dutch people.
Mm-hmm.
But most student houses, they have very limited number of Dutch students, and you don't really get to talk to them. And that's actually the time when you really interact with people, and you're not talking about assignments or work or submissions or deadlines. When you're at home, you're more at your more personal level of conversation. And when you have the Dutch there, that's when you get to talk to them, like really get to talk to them.
Okay, so don't put all the expat students in one apartment,
Yes.
in one flat, but
Yes.
spread them throughout the society.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank you. That's a very strong point, I think.
Maybe both of us, we should be more open-minded.
Please look into the camera.
Hi. Yeah, I mean, we should be more open-minded. Like we should have the belief that accepting and learning and getting to know more different cultures. Yeah, that's what I think. Because I noticed that Dutch people, they're really nice and they're really well behaved. But sometimes I didn't say it's from wholly-hearted, or they are not completely willing to do that. But they're educated, or they know that they should do that. That's my opinion.
I think that's a beautiful last line.